I'm Saad.
Hey, I'm Shubhat Singh, and this is ConnectMe.
So about a year ago, Shubhat and I delved into the media and entertainment industry. However, we quickly saw this unprecedented opportunity in education. So as I delve deeper into my engineering curriculum, I'm learning these valuable skills. And by that I mean skills of tomorrow. So as I go into the job market, I might be posed with challenges such as, how do I make this vehicle entirely autonomous, or how do I use facial recognition to solve safety and well-being in my community? How do I use drones in order to most efficiently make use of agriculture? Now, as I develop my relationship with technology, Rahul over here has to develop his simply with a pencil and a paper. Now, ConnectMe's aim is to remove this entire infrastructure of a school or university and create what we like to call a classroom in a box. So we essentially have these toolkits available for students living in third world or rural areas where they can use this equipment and learn how to keep up with this ever-changing, dynamic technological revolution. So let's take Rahul at a global scale. So as it stands right now, about 50% of the world does not have access to the internet. That means half the population does not understand is not aware about this technological revolution. Now, let's take India, where Shubhat's from, for example. 19% of the entire population does not have access to the internet, the second largest population in the world. That's why 900 million people without the access to the internet. Now, in terms of education, let's take the continent of Africa. Now, in the next decade, around 4.1 million people, there will be 4.1 million people searching for teaching jobs in the entire continent of Africa. And in this digital economy, there's this unique opportunity between private and public sectors where, because there's a direct link between digital adoption and economic competitiveness.
Alright, so over the last 1 year, me and Saad have been talking to numerous NGOs. We've spoken to numerous kids in these rural villages, and we've identified 3 major problems which hinder an effective computer science curriculum. The first one being the infrastructure. In rural villages, due to geographical reasons and lack of finances, there's a lack, the infrastructure-wise, the people there do not have access to the internet or even the computers. The second problem that we identified was that the teachers in these communities, they come from the same rural community that the children belong to. So again, the teachers are not very proficient in the subject themselves. And the third problem that we identified was that whatever these children are learning is very out of context for them. Because, imagine teaching a rural kid computer science, just a couple of numbers on the screen, numbers do not mean anything for him. What really means for the kid is how does he use that knowledge that he's gained to improve his own life and the well-being of his own community. Well, what do we propose? Well, we believe that education should not be considered luxury, and what we strive to do is educate people and inculcate the skills in these people so that they can drive a change in their own community. So essentially what our model is, we'll be providing tablets and hardware kits, hardware microcontroller kits to these NGOs. So 1 tablet and 1 microcontroller kit per student. And essentially the tablets will be running the ConnectMe software. And the software is basically a 15-week curriculum. And the curriculum is divided up into modules. So the first few parts of the first few sections of the module will teach the kids how to code. It'll go from completely zero knowledge of programming, and we'll teach the kids how to code the first few levels, and after that, the latter few levels will teach the kids how to actually use the hardware and apply the skills that they've learned coding. Our goal is that by the end of the 15-week curriculum, they can actually apply the skills they've learned and build things like, automating an agricultural pump in their village.
So this is our proposition. So we limited the fact of having entire classroom or entire infrastructure, acres of land, in order to teach these students how to use computer science in this new revolution that's occurring right now. So instead, what we have is this basic toolkit that holds all the necessary equipment for these students to learn computer science just by themselves. In addition to that, what we realize is that the lack of teachers means that there's a lot of self-learning involved with all these students. So what we tried to do is we tried to de-skill all the entire curriculum, and essentially all you need is a moderator to make sure that the students are keeping on track. The third one is to empower, and what that means is essentially creating this curriculum in order for these students to not just know how to do basic data structures, for example, but how to apply their knowledge and to better and empower the community. So one of the exciting things we're doing over summer is that we're going to be going to India, and we're going to be working with Barefoot College, which is an NGO that works in education, in order to establish a pilot test to run to 15 to 20 students, and to see how that goes from there, and then in order to take that to a classroom for 100 students. That's essentially our contract with Barefoot College. So our revenue model is a subscription-based model where each student who's using our software will be charged $15 a month, and that includes the entire curriculum, including any updates. So let's say I just finished Computer Science 101, which had 15 different levels, and then during that same month, if I want to upgrade, it's simply a software update, and then I move on to 102, for example. In addition to that, these are costs that we're going to charge for the kids and the tablets themselves. But for our pilot test in the summer, Barefoot College are going to cover the cost of both our tablets and the kids, and we don't have to. Essentially, we don't have to sustain the cost of making the dev. In addition to that, we're also in talks with Ghana Code Club, and hoping to see what happens after Barefoot College, and hoping to go into more pilot tests after that.
Alright, so let me go by a little chart which talks about the cost comparison between what is the traditional way of teaching computer science and what is the ConnectMe way of teaching computer science. The traditional way, what honestly Barefoot was currently using. So this is a very rough estimate what I was given to them by their CTO. So for the courseware on the current solution, the courseware in this solution includes all the curriculum, the physical curriculum, because they've been using textbooks. So that costs them about $60 per student. With the ConnectMe method, the courseware is essentially built into the software, and the other part of the courseware is the hardware, the Arduino kits, the microcontroller kits. And these kits will be given to these organizations at the cost of $25 per student. Support and updates are about the same for both. For current solution, the support and updates are like maintenance costs for their existing infrastructure. For ConnectMe, the support and updates will be regular. Since, as Saad said, it's a subscriber-based model, this is where we'll be providing them with the updates. And lastly, let's talk about the student stations, which are essentially the computer hardware. So Barefoot currently is using low-cost laptops. They're paying about $180 per student per lap. And with ConnectMe, since we'll be providing them tablets, the cost will come down to about $60 per student. So that's about 60% improvement in the total cost for the Barefoot College. Thank you so much. That was the team. I'm Shabbat Singh. I come from New Delhi, India. I've lived in India for about 18 years of my life. I understand the market really well. And I've been working on this project with Saad for the last 1 year.
Yeah, I'm Saad Khan. I'm a computer engineer. I'm also a third year, and I'm from Pakistan. And I know it's weird to hear that we work together, but we do. And the same with us. We both seem to apply to people suffering from these sort of unfortunate circumstances, with lack of resources, lack of education, and I guess education ultimately is the main tool to drive people in these economies to keep up to where we are right now. Thank you.